This brilliant Italian scientist was so obsessed with the stars that he built his own telescope to peer into space. He discovered some mind-blowing things. What's up, guys? It's me. And today we're talking about Galileo Galilei, the man who turned our view of the cosmos upside down. Galileo was born in Pisa, Italy in 1564. From an early age, he showed an interest in science and mathematics. In fact, he was so interested that he basically ignored his father's wishes for him to become a lawyer. After studying at the University of Pisa, Galileo became a professor of mathematics at the University of Padua, but it was at this point in his life that he started to have problems with the Catholic Church. You see, Galileo had read Nicolaus Copernicus's book about the heliocentric theory, which argued that the Earth and other planets revolved around the sun, not the other way around, as the Church believed. At first, Galileo kept his thoughts on the subject to himself. But later in life, he began to argue that the heliocentric theory was correct. He even wrote a book called The Starry Messenger, which described his astronomical discoveries that supported Copernicus's theory. One of those discoveries was the 4 largest moons of Jupiter, which he named the Medicean moons, after the Medici family who ruled Florence. He also discovered the rings of Saturn, although he thought they were actually some kind of ears or appendages on the planet. Galileo also made several other astronomical discoveries, including sunspots, the phases of Venus, and the mountains and valleys on the moon. But perhaps his greatest discovery was made when he observed a previously unknown star in the constellation of Andromeda. At the time, people believed that all the stars in the sky were actually fixed in place. They were eternal and unchanging. But Galileo's discovery of a new star suggested that they might be changing over time. This discovery led him to make one of the most important scientific discoveries in history. You see, Galileo had heard rumors that a Dutch spectacle maker had invented an instrument that could magnify distant objects. So he decided to build his own telescope. Using a design similar to that of contemporary Dutch telescopes, Galileo constructed a telescope with a focal length of about 33 feet. With this device, he was able to observe distant objects in much greater detail. And it was with this telescope that Galileo made his most famous discovery, the craters on the moon. People had been gazing at the moon for thousands of years, but they had never seen these craters before. The reason why is simple. The telescope was invented just a few decades before Galileo's birth. And before that, all people saw when they looked at the moon was a bright, featureless disk. But now, thanks to Galileo's telescope, they could see that the moon was covered in craters. This discovery had a profound impact on people's views of the universe. It suggested that the moon was not a perfect, unchanging body, but rather a flawed and dynamic planet. In fact, it suggested the same thing about the Earth. If the moon was covered in craters, then so was the Earth. And if the Earth was covered in craters, then it wasn't the center of the universe after all. To the Church, this was heresy. Galileo was ordered to recant his theories and spend the last 9 years of his life under house arrest. But despite the persecution he faced, Galileo continued to make scientific discoveries until his death in 1642. Today, he is remembered as one of the greatest scientists of all time, the man who turned our view of the cosmos upside down. Thanks for watching. If you want to learn more about the amazing discoveries of Galileo Galilei, check out the resources. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this.